Sometimes the truth outpaces fiction, and in the case of Bill Goldthorpe, it didn't just outpace it, it left it in the dust. Known to hockey fans around the world as the man who inspired Ogie Ogillthoorphe in Slapshot, Goldthorpe's life has been a nonstop brawl both on and off the ice for over 4 decades now. Now 72, he's still carrying that same fire, that same reckless edge that made him legendary. Ogie Ogillthoorphe is unforgettable. The big-haired enforcer, immortalized on screen, a player whose reputation inspired lines like this.
We're in trouble.
Huh? What? Oh, shit, he's here.
Who? Ogillthorpe. Ogie Ogillthoorphe?
You don't know Ogillthorpe?
Ogillthoorpe?
Ogillthorpe.
You know, for the sake of the game, they ought to throw this fucking guy in San Quentin. He is a criminal element.
This young man has had a very trying rookie season. What with the litigation, the notoriety, his subsequent deportation to Canada, and that country's refusal to accept him, well, I guess that's more than most 21-year-olds could handle.
Ogillthoorpe.
Ogie Ogillthoorpe.
That's the kind of presence that leaves a mark and makes his character unforgettable. Well, what if I told you the man behind the legend made Ogie look tame? The character came to life through Nancy Dowd, who wrote Slapshot. And while she never met Goldthorpe, the stories she heard were insane. Insane enough to shape one of hockey's most infamous anti-heroes. Take, for example, the time a 17-year-old Goldie beat up a teammate at the Green Bay, Wisconsin airport. As a result, his team moved to Canada without him. Border officials refused to let him cross for 24 hours until the paperwork cleared. That real-life debacle inspired his cinematic introduction. In reality, Ogie was Goldthorpe, a man who Stam Fisher called either the wildest or most colorful man to ever step on a hockey rink. With his iconic bleach blonde afro, Goldie roamed 10 minor league teams and 4 WHA clubs between 1973 and 1979, amassing 1,132 penalty minutes in just 194 games. 6 pro leagues plus 3 senior leagues suspended him. The North American League, the blueprint for Slapshot's Federal League, outright banned him. Off the ice, he spent at least 30 stints in jail and countless more nights in fights. His life was quite literally a movie. One of his most notorious moments took place in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, home of the Chiefs in Slapshot. It was late in the 1974 season. Goldie's team, the Syracuse Blazers, had recently added Bart Buetow, a 6'5" behemoth who had played college hockey at Minnesota and even spent time as a lineman. After a line brawl spilled into the penalty box, the fans erupted. Buetow yelled out loud, "You know what I hate more than the other players? The fans." He picked one out of the stands and started giving it to him. That was all it took. A drunken mob surged over the plexiglass into the box. Goldie and Buetow fought their way out, retreating with teammates into the dressing room and barricading the door. Police had to arrive with dogs to restore order. It's a scene eerily similar to what happens in Slapshot, but Goldie's real-life version was even wilder. The fight erupted in the second period, forcing authorities to smuggle the team out mid-game to their bus waiting outside. And who kept the broadcast alive? A young Bob Costas, then a senior at Syracuse University, stalling in the press box for over a full half hour, keeping the fans at bay until the team could escape. By the time Costas joined them, the parking lot had been overrun by furious fans. The bus was rocked, a brick shattered a window, only a police escort got them out safely. Boys, if I ever had a time machine, I wouldn't be chasing gold or changing history. I'd just go back to roll camera on this entire circus from start to finish. Another clash that season happened in Rochester. A fight spilled into the hallway, and Goldie, along with 4 teammates, found themselves arrested, marched into the paddy wagon in full gear, a moment straight from Slapshot. "I was really aggressive when I was younger. I probably stepped on a lot of toes," Goldie said. And that was an understatement. Even in the rough, barely regulated 1970s, when bench-clearing brawls were standard, Goldie was exceptional, something hockey hasn't seen before or since. A man who would battle opponents, fans, teammates, and even authorities with the same ferocity. But before he became infamous on the ice, he he was already a force off it. Growing up in the railroad town of Hornpain, Northern Ontario, he learned to fight early. At a minor hockey tournament, he once jumped into a tussle between a man and a referee, defending a spectator. That man happened to be Albert Cava, future coach of the Thunder Bay Vulcans. Goldie's fearlessness earned him a spot on the team and a clear role. That goes without saying. However, Goldie's off-ice fights and antics often threatened his career. Before his sophomore season in Thunder Bay, he battled 5 men back home who were all quote-unquote junkies that provoked him. "I smoked all of them," he said. He was charged with 5 counts of assault, totaling 75 days in jail. On top of that, he was already suspended from junior hockey for hitting a linesman. Friends arranged for him to serve time in Thunder Bay, allowing him to return to the team once his suspension ended. Goldie's notoriety became legendary. By his own count, he was arrested nearly 50 times and jailed at least 30. A friend even made a t-shirt listing Goldie's North American jail tour. 18 cities, 18 lockups. "Every place I played, I got put in jail," Goldie said, except Minnesota. There, he played 3 playoff games with the St. Paul Fighting Saints in 1974, fighting in each one, but avoiding arrest simply because he didn't get into any bar fights. By his own reckoning, he racked up nearly 500 fights off the ice. Some were minor scraps, others life-threatening encounters. One of the more harrowing took place in San Diego in 1980. Goldie had gone to confront a drug dealer who had involved his girlfriend with cocaine. What began as a scuffle quickly escalated. The guy mouthed off, "I pushed him down." Goldie recalled, "He pulled out a .22, I kicked it out of his hand, tried to get the girl out, and he shot me in the stomach." The bullet narrowly missed his kidney, shredded 7 inches off his small intestine, and lacerated his urinary tract. Goldie spent 5 weeks in the hospital and another 2 years recovering fully. However, that personal crisis didn't break him. "That was the wake-up moment for me," he said, reflecting on the trauma, yet the fight instinct never left. Not long after, while walking along Mission Beach, Goldie stumbled onto another violent scene, a man assaulting a woman inside a van. Goldie intervened, dragging the man out, only to be knocked down and slashed across the triceps with a buck knife. Thankfully, he blocked a second blow aimed at his chest with his forearm, then countered with a punch to the face, finally sending the attacker fleeing. The cops would later tell Goldie that the attacker was on angel dust, and they said he was lucky to be alive. Yet, for all the violence, all of the chaos, Goldie's biggest regret was surprisingly mundane, a goal he never scored. During his first season with Syracuse in 1974, the team was riding a 10-game winning streak. Late in a tight game, Goldie found himself staring at a wide-open net. An easy finish, a guaranteed winner. But instead of just burying it, he tried to go high and flashy, hoping to impress the boys. He missed. The game ended in a 3-3 tie, and the streak died right there. "My goal would have won the game," Goldie admitted later. "I could have been the hero." Goldie also came close to the NHL in 1976. Invited to the Toronto Maple Leafs training camp, he played in 2 exhibition games. The Leafs wanted to send him to their Central League affiliate in Dallas, but he refused to report without a contract. They balked. He walked away. Quote, "I wish I had gone down to Dallas and worked my way up," he said. Even in tame environments, Goldie couldn't escape trouble. While instructing at a hockey school in Binghamton, New York, police arrested him for unpaid parking tickets of all things. He appeared in court in full hockey gear, jersey, pads, skates. Quote, "I told the judge I used to take the tickets off the windshield and sign autographs on the back for the kids." He laughed. The judge let him off for $80. Through it all, Goldie remained proud of his reputation as a fighter. On the road, on the ice, wherever respect had to be earned. His second most prolific season came in 1979 with the San Diego Hawks of the Pacific League. 13 goals, 267 penalty minutes in 39 games. A brief stint with the Spokane Flyers followed. However, it ended when he tried assaulting the team owner for disciplining him after a suspension. By 1984, Goldie moved on with the senior team in Riverview, New Brunswick, where fights were the main attraction and his name topped every card. His reputation drew bigger crowds than the local AHL affiliate, prompting recruitment attempts from other teams, including Doug Messier's Moncton Alpines. By then, Goldie had rebuilt himself into a 216-pound bodybuilder, a man who commanded attention before a puck even dropped. By the mid-'80s, Goldie had stepped away from the constant chaos of professional hockey. After a brief return with Riverview's senior team, injuries, age, and a lifetime of hits finally caught up. "I got tired of fighting," he admitted. But stepping off the ice didn't mean he softened. Goldie actually became a bodybuilder and earned him the Mr. New Brunswick title in 1985. Today, in his mid-70s, he still lifts for fitness, though the competitive days are long behind him. Now living in Surrey, British Columbia, he works as a foreman for a Vancouver-based construction company building commercial properties. Yet, even in his 70s, Goldie hasn't lost that chip on his shoulder. "I may not fight on the ice anymore, but if someone mouths off, I'll respond," he said. A year ago, a young Quebec drug dealer at a construction site tested him at 6 a.m. and learned exactly who he was. Goldie never played Ogillthoorpe himself. That role went to Ned Dowd, Nancy Dowd's brother, who had skated for the Johnstown Jets, the real-life inspiration for the Charlestown Chiefs. The studio claimed the character was a composite, but Goldie laughed at that. "That's not even close to the truth," he said. However, Nancy Dowd herself later confirmed it, crediting Goldie's reputation for shaping Ogie. She also admitted Goldie wasn't cast because of concerns over his off-ice behavior. While the Carlson brothers, the guys who inspired the Hanson brothers, became cult heroes and made hundreds of promotional appearances, the real-life inspiration for Ogie remained anonymous. Bitter at first, Goldie didn't even watch Slapshot for 12 years. When he finally did in 1989, he was surprised by how much he loved it. Quote, "I never laughed so hard." Over time, reconciliation followed. Around 2000, the cast began inviting him to golf tournaments and charity events. He even met Nancy Dowd in 2006. She admitted being nervous, worried the infamous Goldie would live up to his fearsome reputation, but when they met, he was just incredibly nice, a real gentleman, she recalled. Bill Goldthorpe's story is raw courage, chaos, and heart, all wrapped into one. A feared enforcer with a reputation that echoed across every rink he ever played in. But behind it all, a quieter kindness most never saw. He may be done playing the game, but the legend of Goldie still swings, reminding us that sometimes reality really is wilder than fiction.